In this episode, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't expect your ROAS to increase as you dial up those all-important budgets.
Let's talk about that.
Right, Matt, we are back. This is going to be, here's an insight, we were talking before we came on air about this topic, and we became very excited because we thought this is going to be such an interesting one because we're an agency, we work with lots of clients, we talk to lots of businesses, and a part of our job is to dial up spend. It is to increase budgets.
Grow those businesses.
It is. And we often have the conversation as well, we're dialing up the budgets, surely the ROAS is going to dial up as well. And that might be the case sometimes, but it's not always the case. And so we thought, do you know what, we're going to break down some of the reasons why you shouldn't necessarily expect the ROAS to always increase, and we'll share some examples and just sort of go through it. It's going to be fun. So come and join us, grab a cup of tea, and it's going to be a treat for the ears and for the eyes. Let's get into it.
But before that,
yes.
tea or tosh?
Oh!
That's right, it's time to separate the real from the rough. Each episode we tackle a bold marketing claim and figure out what's real and what's just plain wrong. And the best part, you get to play along at home. So, is it tea or tosh?
A 5x ROAS with a 50% margin at 1,000 spend is more profitable than a 3x ROAS at £10,000 spend.
For all you watching, you can stop and pause to go back and listen to it and go, what was that? And you can work it out. Hold on, right. So a 5x at 5, 1, 3. That has got, is that tea or is that tosh? I'm going to go, that is tosh.
Correct.
Hey, yes. Okay, and that's actually very accurate because that is going to tie in perfectly to what we're talking about. So just to set the scene then. So
yes.
We've got lots of clients. We talk to lots of businesses. We're in lots of ad accounts every day. And, our job is to increase those spends, increase the spend, increase the returns, and make all of our clients loads of money.
Yeah.
For the most part, we're doing a pretty good job of that, I would say.
Yeah, not too shabby at all.
So why should we not expect ROAS to increase as the budgets dial up? What say you, Matty boy?
So first of all, I think it's worth starting off with that, like ROAS is obviously a great metric for us to use, right? Especially in the platform. Like Lou's going to be using that in search, in social, in Meta. But it's not really the KPI to use for scaling. What actually is MER, marketing efficiency ratio. So how much am I spending and how much am I getting out overall as a business, rather than concentrating too much into each platform. Obviously, we need to kind of get what the kind of like what is the base level kind of ROAS for us to kind of understand where we're sitting and where we need to kind of optimize. But really, it's MER in terms of that.
Which is what, just for those that don't know?
Marketing efficiency ratio.
So that is total in versus total out.
Overall, yeah.
Overall, so not worrying too much about ad spend. I've put X into Meta and got Y out, stuff like that.
Where are you sitting right now as a business with all kind of your expenses, and then what are you kind of like making, that kind of thing.
Fine.
So that's because sometimes it's quite difficult to track. There might be Meta's attribution window is 7 days. Doesn't mean that purchase didn't happen. It's just that we're not seeing it in the platform. So there's all these sorts of things to consider.
Particularly if for a lot of our clients are lead gens, they're showrooms, stores, we can't track. We can get the right eyeballs that are, in terms of to see the ad, but then can we correlate? Particularly, we mentioned hot tubs, a lot of our products that we market are long consideration.
Exactly.
Someone might be thinking about it for weeks or months, sometimes even years.
Yeah.
And our job is to get in front of them and then stay in front of them. But as I say, from an attribution perspective, that's going to be it's going to tell a very different story if you make your marketing and your business decisions based on what the platform tells you.
Exactly.
And yet, so many businesses are still doing that. So many businesses are still looking at Meta or Google or any of these platforms and going, well, it said that I spent X and the return was Y. Therefore, it is working. It's working really well. Great, dial it. And we're kind of going, well, hold back sometimes. Or it's not working. And we're like, no, it really is because you're overall, the business has grown. Lovely. It's because we can't track it. We can't see it directly, but you can feel it in the overall,
Yeah.
the bigger picture.
Exactly, and that's why we're not sort of like we talk about the like ROAS and things like that with our clients, but also we really want those conversations about what is business like for you? Like, what was your revenue last month? How many leads did you get? Because you know, that's so important for us, so we can kind of start to understand, you know, do we need to like dial up the quality of the leads, or what is it? We really get to know our clients' numbers, not just what the platform's saying.
It's the commercials. We talk common sense commercials. It is all about, and we've advocated that for a long time, is we need to understand the full picture. Then we can look, and we look at and say, well, what marketing platforms, channels are you using? What does email do? It's the bear, you know, the brand, the email, the ads, the referral. Where are all of your leads, your sales coming from? Which ones of those can we correlate, can we track, and can we see? Because if we can see that, and there's a saying that I don't know how it goes, it's decades old, but it's like a real old school marketing sort of saying, which I love, which is 50% of my marketing works, I just don't know which half.
Yeah.
Like it's so true, even in 2025, even as, you know, all of the data and DDA with data-driven attribution and all of the clever techie stuff we have to play with at our, you know, at our disposal. The reality is most businesses still can't track everything. I mean, I can't think of a business that can go, I can track everything. No one can, because of, you know, the way of the world.
Yeah, and I think it can hinder you if you try to do that too much, actually. And sometimes 100%. You just have to zoom out, look at your overall numbers, look at your MER, and actually, no, this is good for me right now. This is working. So
when you're then, if you're a business that you're wanting to increase the budgets, you sort of can say, I can't tell exactly what's working. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other, but I can see it is. So I'm scaling. Where does ROAS fit into this? Because ROAS, return on ad spend, so many businesses get really, really focused on this. We know because, you know, the phone will ring, we'll pick it up, and they'll be like, right, we you know, well, I'm not. I get it all the time, and you know, our prospects phone up and they'll say, you know, we want to move agency, we want to come to Evergreen because, you know, our ROAS used to be 4 and now it's 3, and that will be what they say, and I'll go, okay, but now tell me about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Now tell me as a business how you're doing, because if that drop in ROAS or that inconsistency in ROAS correlates to the business having a dip or a wider, you know, it's accurate in terms of the business performance overall, great. Maybe there's some validity to that. Let's look at what you're doing and not doing, what you could be doing. But if the business is going like gangbusters, but actually the ROAS is just, you know, because the lead time or whatever, then it becomes, well, actually you haven't got a problem. You think you have, but you might not have.
Before we go any further, if you're enjoying today's Tea Talk, you'll love our Grow with Evergreen podcast. Specifically created for home, garden, and lifestyle brands, it's a podcast dedicated to discussing paid media and marketing. Every episode, we're joined by a brand that wants to grow online. We delve into their business, dissect what they're doing, and define a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. And best of all, you get to listen or watch along, then take those learnings into your own business. Make sure you check it out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But for now, let's get back to today's Tea Talk.
But so is ROAS not relevant at all then? Where does it fit?
It is definitely relevant. And what we want to do is essentially calculate the break-even ROAS, because if we're achieving anything higher than that, then it means we're making a profit, right? So we want to understand what the break-even ROAS is, and then from there because it could be that, and for a lot of our clients, that they're way above that. And then actually, it doesn't matter if your ROAS reduces, and we're going to move on to kind of actually that you can make more profit on a lower ROAS. But typically, like if you're going to spend more, it's very typical that your ROAS will reduce. And
why?
So there's a number of reasons for that. The first sort of one, especially from the sort of talking from a meta perspective, is that creative fatigue is one, which goes back to, you know, other conversations that we've had that you need more volume then, because the creative's going to fatigue. The more that you spend, the more eyeballs you're getting on your brand.
So you're getting through the creative at a pace, right?
And also with Meta and its sort of AI algorithm and Advantage Plus, it's going to use what it knows to go for like the most obvious segment within the available market to convert. Well, when you spend more, it's going to have to go wider. It's going to have to go broader. And those audiences are maybe not going to convert as well. So that's why
because the platforms go after the low-hanging fruit. They go after the ones where we know these people convert. We're going to hammer them. But then actually, if you keep chucking money at it, then it's going to go, well, I can't keep showing those ads. You know, it's got to cast a wider net, hasn't it? It's very logical, but it's, you know, not every business thinks through it in that way. They just go, well, surely it's, and we often get it, you know, set as, and we have to do it, you know, a big part of what we have to do is educate our clients. on, and there's a lot of these established businesses, and we still have to sort of say, we're going to look at this as, because they'll say to us, well, we want to increase the spend, but we want to maintain the ROAS. And you'll sort of go, that's very difficult to do because of these reasons, because of ad fatigue, because you're going to have to cast a wider net. If you're spending, £5,000 this month, and then you're going, well, we're in peak now, as a lot of our clients, time recording, a lot of our clients are peak, and they want to go, well, we need to double our budgets.
Yes.
If you double your budgets, you're not going to maintain your ROAS for the most part. There might be the odd exception, but for the most part, that's not good. It's going to reduce. But that's not a problem, is it?
No.
For the most part.
No, and I think that, and not even just from like the platform perspective, if you see the like ROAS dropping and it is Meta like trying to find that next best audience, it's just as a brand, you want to raise your awareness with more people that don't know who you are yet. They might cost more to acquire to begin with, but if you as a brand are happy to take a bit of a knock on your ROAS, still making sure that we're profitable, obviously, and you can spend a little bit more to acquire a customer, you're in a better position because you're growing. So that would be what I would do. Obviously, it needs to be profitable, and then that feeds into those conversations around what's your LTV, because some businesses are happy to take a loss on the first purchase because they know they're going to get it. What are you doing? Email? Are you doing what are all the other things that are going to kind of come and help support that ROAS reducing as minimal as possible, really?
Have you got an example you said you want to go through to give us a sort of a working example?
Yes.
I think that's sometimes useful, isn't it? To just sort of give us a bit of context in terms of, a bit of a scenario.
Yeah. So let's say high ROAS and low spend as a scenario A. So you're spending £1,000.
Yeah.
Your ROAS is 5.
Yeah.
So you're getting £5,000 back.
£5,000 in, £5,000 out. Lovely.
Exactly. Obviously, there's costs involved with running a business,
sure,
as I'm sure you know. So let's say there's a profit margin of 50%.
Sure.
So that's taking your gross profit now to 2.5.
Yep. So from 5.5, spent 1,000, 5,000 back. Lovely. We then paid our costs. We've got 2.5.
2.5 back.
Gross.
Net 1.5 because you've got your ad spend.
Now I've got 2.5, and I've now got to pay for my ads. There's 1,000 back for you. I'm left with 1,500 quid.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay.
So 1.5. Remember 1.5.
1.5.
Scenario B, lower ROAS but higher spend. So our spend now is 10,000.
Lovely.
But our ROAS, it's reduced to 3.
Okay.
But the revenue, is 30.
Yeah. So 10 in, 30 out. Lovely.
Yeah. We're going to go with the same COGS, cost of goods sold, at 15 grand.
Straight away, right.
Then you've got your gross profit then of 15,000.
Yep, if you're left with 15. By the time we pay for the cost of goods, left with 15. Great, yep.
Your
lovely.
net profit, despite your ROAS dropping to 3, is 5.
Yeah, because I've then paid the 10. So I've got 15 left, paid 10 back there.
Yeah.
So I'm left with 5.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather 5 over 1.5.
There you go.
And that's on 3 ROAS. Oh my God.
And if that's more than your break-even ROAS, then
Yeah, exactly. And they're all, that's a hypothetical, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it shows, as you say, with economies of scale and with scalability, we were talking before, and I said, it's something, a way that I sort of explain this when I'm talking to a prospect. I say, because if they come on and say, we need to maintain ROAS and we need to, it's a case of saying, well, look, actually, would you rather, a bigger piece of a smaller pie?
Yeah.
Or would you rather maybe a slightly smaller piece but of a much bigger pie?
Yeah.
There you go. You're welcome. That's the way to think about it. Is would you rather, you'd rather a smaller piece but of a much bigger pie? Lovely. And if that pie can just get bigger and bigger and bigger, okay, proportionally, your slice of it may be quite small, but it's getting bigger and bigger. Lovely. And it's a very simplified way of explaining it. But I like to keep things simple. But
you're like a pie. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a really good way of just, I think, thinking about it and actually thinking, well, then it's fine. And as you say, but we bake in, to keep the pie analogy going, you bake in all of, I can't help myself, you bake in all of the, as you say, the GPs and understanding the break even and what they need and what they don't need and so on and so forth. And as long as you understand that, and as you say, the other LTV, which is lifetime value, if we understand that, then it becomes, again, you can look at it and go, well, are we going to use the first purchase for maybe as a loss leader or maybe even as a break even, just to get that customer in, because we know once they convert once, great, we're going to upsell them, cross-sell them. We've got an email flow we're going to send to them, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And you increase that value. And that's particularly true with subscription-based businesses. Is we'll look at that and go, well, ideally we can spend no more than, I'm just thinking of some real life examples. We'll go, ideally we can't afford to spend more than 9, 10, 12 pounds to acquire the customer.
Yeah.
But then we'll look at it and go, okay, fine, but what's the value? And they'll go, well, on average, someone sticks around for 8 months, 9 months on a subscription, and that's worth, I don't know, 100 quid.
Yeah.
So you'd go, well, actually, it's not that 9, 10 pounds that you can spend, because that customer's worth, you know, 100 pounds to you on average, and your GPs are 60, 80, you know, 70, 80%. Suddenly we've got a lot more to play with. We can be more aggressive with wanting to scale that account with the spend, worry not about the budget, and instead just put that investment into more creative to fuel the growth and new customer acquisition.
Exactly. Spot on.
Oh, it's
and
good.
also, and the more you spend as well, it's going to obviously like push more traffic to the website. It's going to highlight potential leaks across that funnel as well, the more that you're spending. So that's something to consider. And actually, that does feed into the ROAS piece, because actually, a lot of the time, it's post-click that can help with ROAS. It's not all about us trying to do the in-platform stuff. It's, you know, what is your email follow-up? You know, what tweaks can you make to the website to make your product pages better, or, you know, your lead form easier to complete?
Well, because if you're getting the more data, the more footfall you're getting onto the website is going to, let's say, you're going to identify those leaks, those gaps. It's also you're going to get statistically significant data and numbers on the board more quickly, which is going to enable you to, this really works, this really doesn't work. This used to work, but it's falling by the by. But actually, and the other big benefit on this is, the more you scale up, yes, you'll be making the sales that you can attribute this and the other, but there's the long-term benefit. And a big thing that we talk about, you know, we do for ourselves is the long-term play of going, do you know what? They may not buy from you today or tomorrow or next week, but actually they're now aware of you. So you see an increase in brand search. You see an increase in, you know, referral traffic and recommendations. You see an increase even in word of mouth for certain businesses. Yeah. It's all that knock-on effect because people are seeing you. Whereas if you're just so focused on the ROAS and the immediate return, it's that immediate gratification. Yeah. I need to spend, I need to see that working now. Yeah. And so many businesses fall into that trap. And a big part of what we have to do is educate them and go, we're gonna sow you the seeds, and you'll get some of those leads now, but some of them you might not realize for weeks, months, even years down the line. Yeah. But that, if you don't do that, it is a massive limiting factor on your ability to go, well, I'm going to live for today, but actually let's make hay and let's make sure that next week, next month, next year, there's going to be some benefits there.
Is longevity in your business and your brand, isn't it? Which is the key.
It's good. No, it is. I think, but it's such a good one because you can scale, and we are scaling, you know, countless brands and small businesses online, but we do it by thinking not just about the ROAS, but all of the other metrics, and with an understanding there of actually, if you could think differently, it becomes very, very exciting. You can just take a long-term view. I love it. Anything else to add?
Yeah, that's it.
Good. Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah. I can keep talking about this all day. So there you go. Look, if you are so focused on ROAS, and there will be some of you watching this that are ROAS, and this is true whether you're e-com or small business, your local business, worry not just about the ROAS, and instead think about the bigger, longer term picture. And it might just open the taps on your ability to seriously kick on and scale. And as Matt said, it's all about mer, baby. Right, there you go. We're going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've enjoyed it, give us a like. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're like 4,000 subs now. It's gone nuts.
Smashing it.
It's gone crazy. So we're kicking on as an agency. We're having a lot of fun, and we're going to keep these Tea Talks coming thick and fast. But we do have some changes to Tea Talks coming very soon. So stay tuned to that, and you'll notice some changes afoot. For now, though, we'll see you on the next one. Take care.